to the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar, point you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on
Man Talk Mondays coming at you once again on Monday night. All up in your area, player. I'm Derek, the thought engineer, here with my man, comedian John Yogi. How you doing, bro?
Man, I am good for the neighborhood. Man, I'm good.
Okay.
Good. Ready, man. I'm ready to save somebody. I'm ready.
Save somebody. Okay.
Yeah, save somebody.
We're to help somebody tonight. All right.
Yeah, save somebody from themselves.
From themselves.
Yeah.
So let me remind everybody real quick. This is Man Talk Mondays. It's an open forum where we talk about everything from religion to politics to relationships. But of course, we're doing it from a man's perspective. I keep in mind, this is not just for men. We want everybody to join in. Men, women, boys, and girls, you are welcome. And how you do this, how you talk to us, go in the comments, leave your comment, leave your question. We can see this, but this is how you talk to us. But we want to hear from you tonight, right? We got a great show lined up for you tonight. We got some fabulous people coming on, and it's going to be good. So you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our podcast. We are on Apple, Google, Spotify, Spreaker, Bullhorn, Overcast, a whole lot of different platforms you can find us on. Just go back and check us out. We got all types of shows out there. You can go and listen to other past episodes, and we upload a new one every week. So definitely go check us out. Don't forget also, we are on TV, right? We on TV. That's on BS3 TV on Roku. We are live right now, and we have past episodes. Also, you can go back and watch that on demand on Roku, BS3 TV. Great lineup, great shows, great podcasts. You can go and check a lot of them out. Guarantee you'll be pleased. Right? So we won't take up too much time. We're going to get off into this tonight. We're up to our segment we call Man Talk About It.
Let's go.
Man Talk About It. What is going on with these people today? So, came across this story, and it just, I don't know, it messed my head up. I don't know about you. Messed my head up. How many of y'all remember the mama from Baby Boy? Y'all remember Jodie Mama from Baby Boy? Y'all remember her?
She was trying to get her life together.
Melvin.
Yes.
Well, the actress AJ Johnson,
that's her name.
She talks about celebrating her 50th birthday with a threesome. Celebrate her 50th with a threesome.
Is that something that we really need to be celebrating, though? Really? Girl, how do you come to somebody and say, girl, let me tell you what happened last night? Girl, I barely made it out of there. Girl, I had to call the police. I had to call the police, girl, because their big road was not terribly lit. You hear me? That's, if you ain't saying that, then I don't really want to hear what you're saying. And let me ask you one more question. Listen, At 50 though, 50 really.
Hold on, but that ain't the tripped out thing. This didn't just happen. She's 58, but now she wants to come out and talk about this experience she had at 50. Why wait 8 years to talk about this?
She just got a strength back up, D. Nah, she ain't been able to use the phone or the internet or none of that, bro. All this bitch. She been there about. Well, man, I can't see. What's going on?
It's convolvulated. Now she is quoted as saying that it was a sensual experience. It was like a beautiful dance.
What kind of dance they doing?
With loop music in the background. Two live crew in the background playing a song.
You know what? I'm gonna have to call bull on this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to call bull on. I don't believe it. I don't know why you would lie about it, but people lie about the darndest things. I don't believe it.
Okay.
So she got to a point of her life where she said, "You know what? I'm finna tell it. I'm finna tell it all. Girl, go sit down somewhere. You almost 60 years old. Go sit down somewhere."
8 years later. 8 years later. And she telling the business. I guess maybe women are experiencing this sexual freedom now, and she feels like now is the time to tell how she conquered 2 young men. And,
first of all, she better have got some rascals that was her age or higher. Because she went in there with them youngsters, but they did just let out of the last week.
But this is what we've come to. This is where we are in the society, man. You know,
Just say it.
I don't know. In my day, wasn't no girl bragging about 2 dudes having her at the same time.
Matter of fact, they were gonna call you live. You said you was. They were gonna call you like, you lied now. You lied. Ain't nobody did nothing like that. You lied. It was one of y'all in there.
Okay, so Dr. Salena said polyamorous relationships are popular now. That's why she's talking. Oh, so she was a pioneer. They say I was through with it before y'all learned what to do with it. Man, it's crazy. You don't believe him?
I don't believe it, D. I don't believe him.
Okay. Well, she telling everybody that'll listen right now is what she's doing.
Because she's trying to stay relevant. D. When you 58 and you ain't had an acting job since Kid and Play movie.
Oh wow.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen anything since Baby Boy. Ben say, yes, this AJ Johnson is wild. Yes, that's wild.
Yes, she lied.
Jordan say fire. Yes. Rod say, I believe it. Yeah. House party. She had a house party. Yeah. Her and 2 scrapping young men just.
I don't get it, man. Why? Now, if I tell y'all I've been with 2 or 3 women, it ain't no big deal because that's liable to be true. But for AJ Johnson, come on, man. Come on. And that ain't nothing for a woman to be bragging about anyway, is it?
No. I'm like Brian say, I agree. She needs to knock it off. Are we holding a double standard in this whole thing? I don't know.
Not me, because I don't believe it.
It's a whole lot. Amazon is doing I don't know. I'm gonna put it out there and let me know how you feel about it. So there's a story about a higher level employee at Amazon whose wife has brain cancer. They're told to either you perform or you quit.
Now, surprisingly enough, I think the first thing that people say when they see this is, oh my God, I can't believe it. They would ask him to put his wife aside to focus on that job. But what people don't understand is, I'm not surprised by this at all, because people don't care that much about you as much as they care about the production. People aren't humane Let me say that. Because his wife is just not going to be out for a short time. She's going to be out for a minute. She's going to be down for a minute because he's going to have to take some time off to help her. I can understand them saying it. I don't agree with it, but I can understand. Hey, man, you got a job. We need you concentrated on your job. And if you can't do that, we got to get somebody else who can. Now, that really sounds harsh, but, man, that is the America that we live in today.
You're right. That is the America we live in today, and that's why these employers are hurting for employees, because employees are realizing COVID helped people realize that these people don't care about you. And so now people are starting to leave jobs. They're not coming back. A lot of people didn't go back to their jobs and the whole nine because they like, I got to look out for me. They're not looking out for me. And then once people discover that you can still work and not have to go to an office and deal with all the stuff that go on in the office, you can work from home and the whole nine, that, you know, because people are starting to look out for themselves a little bit more now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
But if you stuck, if you caught in between, I need to work and pay these bills and I don't feel like it, that's a tough place to be in.
Well, actually, it's not that tough. You can't listen, man. At times we got to do what we have to do until we don't have to anymore. And I think the difference between people now, most of the generation now, most of the kids either living at home with their parents and they don't have to put up with their foolishness. Most people in the place now that we don't have to put up with it. Whereas before, we had to.
Kind of had to go through some stuff and put up with a whole lot more. Yeah, but people are choosing themselves now. I mean, it's like with employers, with just all of the stuff that's going on, people are not in a healthy place. They're not in a healthy place like they need to be. I mean, we learned recently there were 3 young people who within at least a 3-week period who tragically ended their lives. You had Regina King's son ended his life. You had the young lady who was Miss USA. And then there was another young man who played on Walking Dead.
Yeah, sure, that's right.
And these are 3 young people who decided to end their lives. And so it brings mental health to the forefront right now. We're going just getting into 2022. And so everybody now is starting to really talk about mental health. So we wanted to talk about it tonight. We want to talk about it tonight. So tonight we're talking about, you better talk to somebody. You better talk to somebody. And we thought it would be fitting to bring some people on who can talk about this, who knows about mental health, who knows about trauma, who knows about the things that people go through. So joining us tonight.
Wait, D. And we couldn't find them. So because we couldn't find them, we brought these 2 on now. So, okay, bring them up.
That is funny. Joining us tonight, we're bringing our producer from behind the camera. We got Dr. Salena, Dr. Trauma Queen, Dr. Salena Smith with us. And also joining us, we have Dr. Shelia Rivers. Dr. Shelia Rivers is joining us. She's a good friend of Man Talk Mondays, and we had to bring her back for this conversation because Dr. Rivers actually has her own psychotherapy business. You are an actual therapist. That's what you do professionally, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. See, we brought in the right people to talk about this. We don't know if y'all.
I'll talk to John about that later.
Ain't no need. We good. Ain't no need. Ladies, how y'all doing? Y'all good?
Good. I'm so glad to see you guys.
Hey.
Thank you for being
and you
on.
too, John.
He's a target for me. We come in and just start in on you, man. It's all love, though. It's all love.
It does not.
It's Salena.
So you guys heard what I mentioned just a minute ago. The tragic passing of these 3 young people who tragically ended their lives. And is this becoming way too prevalent now?
If I could say something, I think what's ironic about it is all 3 of the people were doing. They wasn't hurting. You couldn't look at their lives and say, yeah, they would commit suicide. All of them were doing pretty well in their prospective venues, and so it's really surprising because we always think that if you got enough money, everything else will kind of play out like it's supposed to. But that's really more so not the case in these than ever before.
The misconception is that depression and suicide doesn't care about your achievements. So it doesn't care about who you are, or who your mother is, or who your parents are, or what you've done in your life. If you are depressed, then you're gonna be depressed regardless of what, because it's not about things for people. It's a certain amount of pain that someone is feeling. And if you're not able to get through that, then who cares who your mom is or how much money you make?
And then even so, more so to add to Salena, sometimes even the more money you make, the more access you have to maladaptive coping skills. The more money you have access to, more higher dosage of, maybe alcohol or drugs, or you can purchase more. We can get more cocaine.
Well,
but we got more money.
But the more money you also have, though, you don't really know who your friends are, because now the more money the friend thing get watered down, because now you don't know if these people are your friends, but for you or for what you can give them.
Right.
But is there something about that, how we can automatically assume that people are okay because by our definition of okay, if they're financially in a place where they don't have the same worries and stresses we have, then they should be fine. Is that a black thing?
I just think it's a people thing. We are good at putting on airs. And so if we're not okay, and we don't want you to know that we're okay because it's going to make us look some type of way, then we're going to put on the smile. It's like the depression commercial with the medication where they have the face where it's the person is smiling on the outside, but on the inside, they're in turmoil. And so I think we too many times we come out and we pretend like we put on these airs as though we're okay. And we're really dealing with a lot of stuff on the inside. And so that's why people are like, oh my gosh, I would never thought that they would have committed suicide. They seem so happy. They seem like they were doing fine, but that's just how they wanted you to think they were feeling.
And then too, that's a defense mechanism, the face, to, hide sometimes how hurt they are, because who they gonna talk to? Who's going to really be truly concerned about, oh my gosh, she is at home alone during the holidays or any other day, or she comes into our house and there's nobody there. After all the money and success that you have, you walk into an empty house and there's no one there to even greet you or, just ask you, how was your day?
Yeah. That's important. Monique says we hide everything from everybody. People need some trusting they can communicate with. I guess you mean some trusting people they can communicate with. Take the judgment out.
But if we would do that, we wouldn't be society, though. That's what society does. It judges you.
Okay. So great point. You say society judges. So if that's what society does, should society stop judging? Or should we get tougher skin?
I think we should. I think a combination of both. Okay. I think it's easier when you're not okay, let me say this. When you achieve a certain level, I think criticism comes with that. But now we're not talking about high level athletes. We're talking about regular people that happen to the what's the guy, the Miss America lady. That I'm sorry, I don't remember names. I don't have names, but the guy from Walking Dead and
Chris is her name, and then his name was Moses Mosley.
Okay.
Moses Mosley.
But with those people, you wouldn't think that they would be under a lot of scrutiny. At least you wouldn't think it from media or other things like that. But now the media is ugly to everybody. It don't really care. Social media is ugly. It gives people to hide behind something or and a social platform and just dog you out. It's probably one of the worst things that ever happened to us with social media.
Now to your point and Dr. Sheila's point, John, you said when you get a certain level of financial success or something, now you're questioning why people are there. Mm-hmm. And then to Dr. Sheila's point, now you have more vices that you have access to. Mm-hmm. And this seems like a bad combination to be dealing with when you trying to get yourself together mentally. How do you combat that? How do you find balance in the midst of that?
You asking me?
I was like, John gonna answer that?
I was like, no, he asked me.
So finding balance in the midst of, I guess you're asking, the depression and the money or the more vices.
Yeah. When you don't have that, you don't feel like you have that support system because you questioning why people are around, because are they there for the money? Are they really there concerned about you? And you're going through things like John said, the media isn't kind. And if you have a certain level of fame, this just goes with the territory and you have to deal with all of this. How do you develop a good support system? Or is it even possible to develop a good support system in the midst of that?
It is possible to develop a good support system. And so, again, I was reading something earlier today. Love the people that love you. Oh. Love the people that really love you. And those folks have been tried and true. The majority of my friends are friends that I've had, or either my family or folks that have been with me for years.
Yeah.
You've seen me through the struggle of coming up and, not having the resources and now resources available to me where, or saw me through the struggle. And it's very difficult to kind of almost sift out who's truly there for you and who's truly not. But love the people who love you and find a really good support system. That support system should be balanced by people that pour into you and folks that you pour into also, genuinely.
And I think it goes back to having those organic relationships with people, because sometimes people may not have necessarily come up with you, but you really feel like, okay, these are genuine, authentic people. And the way that they love you, as Dr. Sheila said, you'll be able to tell that, because you'll be able to tell if those people are around you just for what you can do for them, or if there's somebody who you have an authentic relationship with and you can be able to put onto them your burdens or help them. They will help you bear your burdens so that you share, even that you need a balance, that you need somebody to help you. Because most people, if those are those people that are around you and they're just around you for what you can do for them or for the party, the good times, you don't feel comfortable enough with telling them that you're flawed, so that you have these feelings of depression or something, because you're the hero to them. You're the one with the money, you're the one with the access and with the status. And so you put on for them and okay, I can't let them know that I have a weakness. And those people, you should know that those are not the people who are genuinely there for you and you have an organic relationship with them.
So should you trade your friends in? Should you change your circle? Once you hit a certain level, is it important to get around people who understand what comes with that next level? Kenny said, I feel mental health needs to be discussed more, especially in our culture. Such a stigma behind admitting you have mental issues. Absolutely. Sherry says, this is real talk there. That is real talk there. And we want to be real tonight, because there are a lot of people that are struggling, a lot of people that are going through things. And it's not just people who have money. Everybody's kind of coping and dealing with some things. And so that's why we wanted to talk about it tonight. And like Dr. Sheila, this is her business. This is her practice. This is what she sees. As far as people who come to you, are you seeing more African Americans? Are you seeing more women, more men? Like, what are you typically seeing? People who
I really have a really great mix of individuals across the board. I have seen an increase in African American men seeking individual. I've seen an increase in men seeking individual help since COVID.
Still been at home with our wives. Please help me. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about my friend. It's my friend. Not me. My friend. Go on now.
But yeah, I've seen an increase in men across the board, African American men, and also, and John, that is a very valid point. I found that a lot of couples, they found out they really don't like each other. Because really? Now you're forced to spend this time together in each other's space, where you're running around doing different things, and learning new things about each other. So
they're taking the outlets are gone. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not interrupting, but the outlets are gone. Whereas I used to could stay at work a little longer, or go by the bar, or I had something, or we had something that we could do to kind of shield us from each other. Now that those things are gone, and all we have now is each other.
Yes.
And you realize how much you have in common or don't have in common now that you're at home with them for going on 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and men are 3.7 times more likely to commit suicide, right? And so with the numbers so high for men, they need to be, seeking therapy. They need to be on somebody's couch, because it's like, if you're not able to cope to where you want to take your life, why not seek help?
Right. But men are usually the least likely to seek help, and the modalities of suicide is more lethal, which is why they're more successful.
Yeah. You don't want to be successful with suicide, but men, listen, here's the thing people have to understand about men.
Look like, this is not funny, but women think about what they're going to look like in the casket. And so they do stuff like the pills.
True.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what they're thinking about?
Yes. Men are like, how can I, the fastest way to get out of here? Right. And so it's like they use the ways that's like, I know I'm gonna go. With pills, somebody can find you. You cannot have taken enough. And I'm not giving people, like a way.
Yeah. You got time to do your makeup before they come in. That's what
I'm not laughing.
Right there. I'm tripping right now.
That's great.
That is your concern.
Successful at committing suicide is because they're like, what's the way to get me out of here? I'm gonna shoot myself. I'm gonna do something to where I know that it's going to work. And women, that I don't think
it's like, girl, it's a bad hair day. I don't think I'm gonna do it today. No. My hair ain't there. I mean,
people in general, they don't necessarily want to die, but they want the pain to stop. And so in their mind, they're like, this is the way for the pain to stop.
Or someone to help me with this pain.
Yeah.
Like there's this silent cry. And I made a habit to, when someone just kind of crosses my mind, you get a random text from me, it just says, I love you, I'm thinking about you. It was because like something in my spirit was just like, maybe they needed that for the day. I don't know.
I ain't got mine. Yeah. I ain't get mine.
Just wait on me. It's coming.
Now this brings up an interesting point, because I came across this, and for those who are in the, you're listening, there is a picture of Tyrese crying, a picture of Kanye West crying, and then Will Smith crying. They have these pictures of them, and it's talking about how when men publicly express their emotions, they turn into a meme. So is it really safe for men to express emotionally when they're not okay?
I don't think
so. Go ahead, Salena.
I really believe it's because of when, you know, when boys are younger, the fathers and the mothers are like, don't you cry, boys don't cry, you know, you better be strong, and they're not able to release their emotions or even show their emotions. And so when they do, it's a big thing, like, oh, he weak, you know. And instead of it being a sign of weakness, it should be seen as a sign of strength. Like, he was strong enough to let you, to be vulnerable with you and to allow you to see his emotions. But it's not like that. In our culture, it's like, oh, men are supposed to be strong and you better not shed a tear because you're the man of the house, or you're a big boy, and big boys don't cry.
Strong is, I absolutely hate that word in therapy. I despise it. If you use it, I almost like get up and start screaming. Strong indicates that you are not human. You don't have feelings. You shouldn't express those feelings, and anything that you feel, you really should ignore it. And that is so dysfunctional. That's where our depression, our anxiety, our mood disorders, our reaction to severe stress is dysfunctional. You can't have relationships. All of your relationships are dysfunctional because you don't know how to interact with people, because you cannot express your emotions appropriately. You have been taught since a child on how not to express your emotions, and that is so ineffective.
Yeah. Monique said, I believe it's okay. Many people are turned into memes after ugly crying. I believe we're trying to evolve. I think you got a lot of men who are starting to pay attention to their mental health now. They're starting to, I guess, somebody said before about the stigma. I think the stigma is starting to be at least challenged when it comes to especially African Americans and dealing with mental health, because like you said, it was seen as a sign of weakness to need somebody to talk to, but it's not solving the problem. Like Salena, the pain is still, I'm not dealing with the actual pain. And so men, being destructive creatures that we are, when we do it, we go all out, because our propensity for violence contributes to how we enact those types of things. So I think for men, we really got to watch getting into those spaces. I know I got a good group of friends that I can talk to, and it's a huge resource for me. And I feel for any man who doesn't have that, at least have that good circle of men that they can talk to. But a lot of men don't necessarily have that, though.
Well, I think I'm just jumping. I think that it's good for. I think everybody needs that. I think because too often the times, man, we get pulled off to ourselves, and when we pulled off to ourselves and we in our own head, we got to get out of there. There's nothing good. There's nothing good in your own head off by yourself.
You're right, John. You're right.
You have to be.
Especially John.
Well, because I've been to therapy before. I have been to a doctor before, so I know.
Thank goodness.
You need to go back.
Did you do some follow-up appointments?
See, here I am, opening up.
That's what you're talking about right there.
But I've noticed because even when you're in a group of people, because I like the friend group we have, man, it's still easy for you to sink away from the group and be off to yourself. But we have to be paying more attention to each other. We don't do a good job of looking out for each other when it comes to that stuff. Everybody get caught up with their lives, and we go on doing what we do. Man, but God checks our spirits and say, hey, what's going on over here? Oh, they look like they're good. We can't go by what they look like no more. We got to go see about people. And if we go ahead, Salena.
No, I was just agreeing with you, because the number one intervention, right, between somebody who's experienced a lot of trauma or toxic stress is having a nurturing buffer relationship with another adult. And so even if you have a group of people, but you have a person that's with you that is curious about your behavior, and they notice, okay, something about the way they're acting now is not normal. That's not how they normally behave. And they can kind of see that there's something going on, you know, and then they can step in. Or even if it's not necessarily you putting eyes on them and you being able to identify that there's something different about them or how they're behaving. But like Dr. Sheila said, something in your spirit just doesn't fit right. Then that's when you tap into that relationship that you have with somebody, or that friendship that you have with somebody, and become that nurturing buffering relationship that they need to help them to begin to heal.
Well, but we taught that we don't need anybody. We taught that we can do all this ourselves and we don't need nobody. So it's really kind of crazy because people need people.
This goes back to generations of, let's look at our Black History Month. Let's take a look at our Black history. What were we taught? What were our Black men taught generationally?
But that was a luxury to have time to check on yourself, because
I understand, but you were also taught not to show those emotions, and your strength came from this place of, you know, pushing through. Suffering was almost like a badge of honor that you wore. It doesn't matter how much suffering you went through, like that's what you're supposed to wear.
Especially in church.
Oh my God! I was just about to say, our religion teaches that. Don't y'all don't want me to preach in here tonight? What you say now?
Oh yeah, especially in church. Monique agrees with Sean. She said active listening and checking in on them. That's important. She said that's important. Now, I do feel that church does people a great disservice. I will have to say this, because the way we put on airs, the facades we wear in church and everything, they are not healthy. They are not healthy.
The Lord and baptized in the fire 3 times. Praise God.
Right.
The testimony.
Exactly. And you about to get
the worst testimony, they want them to come up because they're like, "Ooh, she got a testimony, but she has several things wrong." And I would be at this testimonial service thing, and it's like everything was, the husband died, the child got killed, the grandchild was run over, and I was sitting there like, where's the happiness at the end of this? Like, all we're doing is telling us about all of this bad stuff that's happened to her. What would make people want to listen to this and say, "Oh, let me go join the church," or whatever? But it was like the shouting began. The worse the problems were, the higher the shouts were. And it was like they were praising this person for having all of these traumatic things to happen to them. And I was like, where is God in this? Like,
where's the therapist? Where's the therapist? Is there a therapist in the house?
Instead of like singing, why are we not getting this person help? Because even if they make it through all of this, there's some baggage that's gonna come along with that, and some mental illness that's gonna come along with that. And so where is the help for, where is the trying to get this person to someone who they can talk to outside of just praying about it and going to the Lord? Because yes, you should pray about things and stuff, but outside of that, where is the help here on earth? Like, where is the mental help?
Prayer and psychotherapy goes together.
Yes.
Yeah.
John,
go ahead. I want to get him in.
Let me get Ivan. Ivan says, I wrote a blog a couple of years ago entitled "Big Boys Don't Cry." I did a light dive into how men are conditioned from the time we could walk to hold in, control your emotions. Big boys don't cry.
That's true.
And we still conflicted with this. Men are still conflicted with this, because when it comes to finding a desirable mate, if you feel like you being open and expressing yourself is going to take you out the running, you're gonna tough through it.
But that's when parenting is involved. You have to become or get help as a parent, get some type of parenting training so that you don't treat your children like that when they're growing up, because they're only doing that, or they only grow up to think that because that was poured into them as a child. And so if you get these parents to be able to understand that you should probably not tell your boys that they're not allowed to cry, or showing them how to in a healthy way express their emotions, or teach them about social emotional learning. If those things are done as when they're a child, then they don't grow up thinking that there's a stigma around being emotionally vulnerable or emotionally available to other women, or to people, period.
But we don't do.
I want to get Kenny. Go ahead. Give me that comment.
Kenny said, "Don't no black woman want a crying, emotional man. Be honest. That's what I'm saying.
They showed up.
But the ones who think that they don't now don't think that they do because it's seen as a stigma. Like people talk about men who are crying, and it's not seen as though, oh, he's able to express his emotions. They're like, that's a weak man.
So
right, is that just in our head?
No, now also I would say women need to get checked on their mental health also. And so if you are in a healthy place as a woman, you also want a mentally healthy man. Yes. And a mentally healthy man is one that can be in touch with his emotions. He can say, you know what, baby, that hurt my feelings. And we don't have to have no knockdown, drag out and cussing and flipping over tables and stabbing and the police coming. No, we can have a real conversation about what did I say or do that hurt your feelings? Or is there something in your past that's still how you react? Is there a trigger that does something? You know, if I say something or I don't answer the phone, is that still a trigger for you because I don't answer the phone or whatever? It could be anything, but you need to be in a healthy place to where we can actually talk about these things. So if I am mentally healthy, yes. Now, the ones that don't want to cry man, you might need to check her.
You might need to leave alone.
I'm gonna need to know you can cry.
Onique say that's a misconception. Many women would love to see their mate dealing with emotions outward.
Yes. Yes.
Lies, and more lies. You're not gonna get on
listen
here
to John.
and be lying.
The ones who think that have been trained to think that. Their parents have put that in them, or pop culture has put that in them, that if you get a man that's sitting there crying, he a weak man, don't you get a man like that. But if they have someone to teach them what healthy emotions look like and what social emotional learning looks like, then they wouldn't think that. So
y'all telling me that if a man break down in front of y'all and cry about whatever, y'all ain't gonna put that in y'all? You know, women got a Rolodex that can hold all kinds of software in it that you ain't gonna click back and say, "Oh, weak."
What I would do is I would think back to what made him cry, and then figure out, okay, so it's something about what X, Y, and Z that makes him cry. So now we need to talk about this. Why are you having all of these emotions about this particular thing? Because now that might be a trigger to where I don't want to trigger you that way anymore. Right. Especially if you're crying and you're showing all of these emotions.
The only acceptable cry from a man is about his mama. If he cry about his mama, you can get away with that one. Anything else, you ain't getting away with it. Ivan said, I'll read Ivan. Ivan.
Shade. I cry on your ass. Children cleansing, even when there's absolutely nothing wrong. If a woman has a problem with a man expressing his emotion, kick rocks.
Come on, Ivan.
Ivan, how many women you done cried in front of, Ivan? Tell us.
I don't know. I'm sending back to clinics.
Monique says, if I see that Denzel tear, I mean, she said that Denzel. So you got to cry strong. You got to be, What's a strong cry? What is that?
What is it? That training day cry, or like what is that look like, Marie?
Blubbering. You can't understand what I'm saying. And I'm talking about laid out on the floor. Can you deal with that? Can women actually deal with that?
No, you can't deal with that.
Yes.
Hey, at some point in her head, she's gonna say, man, say. You doing a whole lot, bro. You doing a whole lot, bro.
You get no pity from me.
I think if your man is doing all of that and that's your first response, something's wrong. Yeah, that's not the relationship for him, because if he's doing all of that, there's clearly something wrong. And if your first reaction is to be like, if you don't get your weak, you know what I'm saying? There's something wrong with that relationship.
You ain't gonna think it a little bit though. You ain't gonna think it.
I'm not, but I'm not the average chick either.
This is true. This is true, Dr. Salena.
Oh, okay.
Girl, bye. You hear me? I said bye.
Look at this comment.
Kenny said, yeah, we weak. He says, but you two are the exception to most women. Just being honest.
Thank you, Kenny.
I agree.
But you need to be the rule. You know what I'm saying?
True.
You need to be the
So
rule.
this is the thing. I'm just gonna self-disclosure. I've done the work. I've done the work. I still do the work. My therapist, I see her every week. And it's not because there's something wrong, but she is my balance.
No, something wrong. No.
You know where, John, ain't nobody ask you nothing. Ain't nobody ask you nothing. It's not that I'm trying to work out anything, but she keeps me balanced. And I've seen her, the same therapist since 2006, right after Hurricane Katrina, because that was a natural disaster that kind of shook me a little bit. Then I had a relationship trauma, and all of those things. You have to stay in a balanced state and constantly work.
It's maintenance. Just like you go to the doctor for a wellness checkup, even when there's nothing wrong, you're not sick, but you going for your physical, just a wellness checkup. You need to go for a mental wellness checkup. Just going for maintenance, just to make sure it may not be anything wrong, but to make sure that there's not a big thing wrong.
Dr. Salena, no. We're going to even get more relatable. We're going to get our nails done every 2 weeks. That's a standard appointment. Our lashes every 2 weeks. I'm not missing my last appointment. I'm so sorry.
Massages.
Massage.
Massages.
You know what that is. There's some oil all over your body.
Everything that you do to maintain your body, to maintain your mind, that should be a part of your regimen. Your wellness, your mental health should be a part of your wellness regimen.
Let me get so Kenny said, so is it fair to say the girls need to be trained to be a soft place too?
I agree.
Yes. And that's where that healthy mental health comes in at.
Yeah, but I as much as I agree with Kenny, I think if you're communicating and talking to each other like you should as husband and wife, as if you're in a relationship, the conversation that should come from that should be, I want to help you be as healthy as you can with this relationship. So
but if you don't know how to do that, so you can say all day, I need for you to be, if I have a meltdown or whatever, I need for you to be a safe place for me. But if they don't have the ability to do that, then where do they get that from?
Guys, okay.
Right.
Because they can say all day, oh yeah, I'm gonna be your healthy place to lay, and then you have a meltdown and you looking at them like, what am I supposed to do with that? You know what I mean? Like, are you just looking, that's not healthy or that's not helpful. And so you gotta, just like you have to work on yourself, you gotta be able to know what it is that my partner needs when they have a meltdown, or what it is that they're going through, the traumas or experiences that they've had that could be a trigger. And if that happens, how do I help support them?
And that could just be even a simple question sometimes. Tell me, what do you need from me?
Yes.
And sometimes that may be your partner may be able to answer that. They may not be able to answer that. But the thing is, it starts with a conversation from both parties.
Yeah.
Mika says, no, that is not the first thought, John.
It's the second.
All right. Ivan says, I'm going to tell you why I cried. When Kim sang that song, Promise to Love, and I pictured myself standing at the altar waiting on my future wife to walk down that long white piece of cloth they roll out, I cried. He says, I've cried in front of several women. One looked at me crazy. She's still kicking rocks. A few have complimented me on my being free to express my emotions without fear. Secret, there's strength in it, not weakness. And the sex is amazing afterwards. Oh, he is clowning. He said that's why he might be single too.
Right.
So you all said something very important, I think needs to be highlighted. Talking to somebody, especially somebody professionally, it's a form of maintenance. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not admitting that it is kind of admitting that you are taking on too much. And I like to tell people, if you are carrying more than you can handle, typically you say, hey, can you grab this for me or grab some of these for me? It's kind of the same concept. You need somebody else to kind of help you carry this until you kind of sort it out, sit it down and deal with it. But we see personal trainers when we want to get physically in shape. We see nutritionists or something, dietitians when we want to eat better. And so why not do the same thing mentally for our mind and have that person that we can talk to just for that maintenance mentally?
Well, most people are crazy anyway. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, Trick, what are some things that we might need to be watching for when we see people, when we think people might not be doing well or might need some help. And then after you see them, how do you convince people that aren't used to getting therapy or counseling or whatever we want to call it to get help for something? How do we do that? Because we know as Black people, you got to hook them up to a tow truck to drag them in to get some therapy sometimes.
That's a great question. How do you approach getting therapy or finding therapists? How do you even approach that?
All right, so you're trying to recommend somebody to go to therapy?
Well, you trying to help. You recognize that somebody may have an issue and need some help. So how do we?
Do they recognize that they need the help?
Mm-hmm. How do we? And then once we recognize it, and then how do we get them the help that they need?
Do they recognize that they need the help? So that's going to be the main key.
That's good. Because
If
most of the time
they don't feel like they need any help, I don't care how many times you tell them that they need to go to therapy, they're not going to come. And I don't want a patient that doesn't want to be there.
Oh wow.
You know, one thing that has worked, I have several groups of friends, but I had a group message text the other night from one group of friends, and one person just opened up and said, you know, I'm really struggling with this Chesley Chris thing that's happened, and I just want to be vulnerable with you and let y'all know the mental health issues that I'm experiencing right now, the anxiety and the depression I'm going through. That one person opened up, and out of that, about 20 other people text back and started sharing the things that they're going through. And I think it's about opening up and making it known that you're not alone. Like, you're not the only one experiencing these types of things. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but I'm seeking help and I'm seeking therapy. And so if you see that I'm seeking therapy, then you won't feel like it's a stigma, because now we're all doing it. It's like when you find like a bomb hairdresser and you share that information with a friend. Like, if you want your friend to look fly just like you're fly, you would also want your friend to get the mental health that they need. And so sharing this platform that's on Instagram called Therapy for Black Girls. And you're able to just go and pick up from a wealth of knowledgeable people like Dr. Shelia, you know, and different therapists, and people seeing like there are multiple followers on this page. And not only are my 30 people, you know, 30 people packed group of friends are seeking help, and they also have these experiences, but I'm having this too. And so it's not like a big stigma, because now I know I can be in a safe space with other people who also realize that therapy is important and is beneficial.
Because that's one of the tricks of the isolation portion of not talking to somebody. It's you feel like you the only person who's struggling, and you can't let other people know because they seem like they're okay. Let me just tell you, everybody going through something.
Yes.
Everybody is dealing with something. So you are in good company. You are in good company. Just like that one person was brave enough. And I remember being in college. Let me see. Christina says, she says, it's 2022. Therapy is in, baby. So she's down.
Get you 2 therapists.
Mika said a safe place is the key. I remember it being in college and having my friends, and we all had issues that we were dealing with. That was the thing that drew us together. We would all have those issues, but none of us stepped out to seek help. And as long as we had each other, we were still going through, but we never moved towards that healing. We never moved towards that actually being okay. And that's why we drunk like nobody business and did all other kind of stuff. But that's what we did. Well, he said that's a great point. Many people will not admit to it. Until they do that, the help may not happen. Once they come to terms with it, it's easier.
I also want to say, don't stay in a place where unhealthy people are. So yes, I think all of those platforms are absolutely great, but step outside of that, of those platforms. Make sure that it is a platform that is something going to You got some professionals on there, and not just people that are constantly complaining about what problems they have without any healthy solutions.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the things I see, you know, when folks are generating pages and no professional help is being offered. Just make sure there's some good resources that are attached to it, and it's not a place of, you know, we just got a bunch of people that are there unhealthy.
Yeah, well, the therapy for Black girls thing is actually directory almost of Black therapists.
A Black therapist, gotcha.
Black therapists.
Gotcha.
For people who don't know where to start. They don't know where to start as far as looking for people, and it'll tell you like Black therapists who are in your area. So it's like a directory.
That's cool. Ivan says we are actually reviewing Citizen Ash on the Forecast, which is another podcast. They're doing that tonight. He says they actually linked heart disease to the unreleased stress of holding in your emotions. Stress is a killer.
Yes,
stress kills you faster than anything else.
Inflammation in the body.
And it is the number one killer for African American women.
Absolutely.
What?
Even
cardiovascular disease is the number one killer for African American women. Yes, sir.
You know what's a killer for African American men?
You know what? Next comment, please.
Kitty says, do you feel these mental issues could be talked out with professional counseling, or do you think medication is needed? It's a stigma behind having to be on medication. Yeah, the medication thing. Is there times when medication is actually necessary?
Yes, there is times when medication is actually necessary. Depression is a chemical imbalance in your body or brain. All right. So if someone says you have heart disease and you need to take this medication or you're going to die, are you going to take the medication?
Like Eminem.
Like Eminem.
Yes. And so your mental health medication, although it may not be always, I never recommend medication without talk therapy. Because you need to find a way, whatever it is, to implement some healthier skills. That way, the medication is not always. It could be depending on the severity of the mental health. But if you know, something like depression, is it situational? You know, are we just kind of going through something? Is it just COVID that we kind of dealing with? Is it life issues? Is it finances? I mean, will these things always be? And they may not always be. So medication just kind of helps you get through that. You know, one of my patients called, she said, I need to take my I don't give a shit medication.
Where did you get? How much is that pill?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
But
yes.
You know what?
And it just helps her get through and be able to deal with the things, even make clear decisions, and instances where she is not able to make a clear decision. So yes, I say take the medication and go to therapy.
Yes, I agree. I think you should couple, especially if that's what you've been prescribed, right? So if you've gone to get taught, or she's to talk therapy, and they ask you to combine that with medication, to do so, because antidepressants, as much as people say I don't want to take my medicine or whatever, or I don't want to be on medication, antidepressants have gone up 400% since the 90s. So people are taking antidepressants. They might not tell you that they're taking it, but people are taking it because they want the pain to go away. They don't like that feeling of sitting in a space of depression, because it's not a good feeling. And so if it's something I can pop in my mouth and not feel that way, whether I tell you I'm taking it or not, I'm going to do that. Most people will go ahead and do that, especially if it's prescribed, and they'll tell them that it will make them feel better.
And it may not be something that's prescribed. Like there's several of vitamin regimens that you can take. If your vitamin D level is low, that's one of the factors of depression. Wow. So it may just be, you might need to increase your vitamin D, get out in the sun, go exercise. Exercise is one of the most underutilized tools for depression and anxiety.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So yes, we may need the medication. It may not be something that's always prescribed. St. John wort is something that's used also very often. You can get it at Walmart for anxiety.
HGA.
Yeah, HGA. Yes.
That stuff that you roll with the little green in there.
That sticky icky. All right. They got rid of it. Kenny says, I have a friend having to
That's why you got kicked off, John.
That was my friend said that. My friend had said that. Wasn't me.
Kenny say, I have a friend who having to take medication and is so embarrassed by it.
Oh no.
Man.
Well, maybe it's not everybody's business. Maybe everybody don't need to know.
Yeah. You don't have to tell everybody. You don't need to stand up in church and do testimony about your pills. Monique said most of our emotions will manifest in physical sickness / disease, especially when you do not deal with it. Let me say this. I tell people all the time, medication does not heal you. It helps you cope with symptoms. You still have to do the work. So if you just relying on medication, that's either for a physical condition, a mental condition, or anything. If you just relying on medication, you will not be okay. You still have to do the work. You still got to talk to somebody. You still got to cut out the salt and get off the blood pressure pills. You still got to do it.
But one of the misconceptions is people think that what they go through or what they're feeling is normal. Most of the time it's not. And we got to wrap our heads around that. I'm not supposed to be feeling this way. Something is wrong. I should not go to bed where I can't sleep at night. I'm nightmares or whatever it is. This is not normal. And people think that they just supposed to cope with it, and they're not, because you are not normal. Something is going on, and you need to get some help.
No, you absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's not normal, but if you come from a place where everybody just kind of has gone through that, you accept it. It's not until you step away from that you realize we weren't okay. We were not okay. Yeah. Not doing well. Final thoughts. Oh man, this is definitely flown by. So we'll start with Dr. Shelia. Any final thoughts you want to leave with the people?
Final thoughts. Over years I have just done my own work, and what we were taught as children, no fault to our parents, but what we were taught as children, learning more and more that how to deal with our emotions were very ineffective. So learning new coping skills and implementing those things, having goals for yourself and putting those things in place to have, you just be better you.
So I would say it's okay to not be okay, as they said, but it's not okay to sit in that place and sit in that space and not seek help. And so if you are somebody who is going through anxiety and depression and you have suicidal thoughts, please make sure that you reach out and you call the suicide prevention line, or you talk to somebody, see somebody like Dr. Shelia, and get the help and therapy that you need so that you can turn your life away around from being not okay to coping.
Oh yeah, I just want to say I want to speak to that person that has drifted away from everybody. There's nothing good comes from being by yourself. Remember, you need people just like people need you. My therapist told me, he said, John, how many times has anything good ever came from being inside your head? And I couldn't think of none. He said, because there aren't any. You need to be out and get around people and talk to people. And you guys can help each other be better while you come to see me. Remember, people need people, and that includes you. And that's my final thought.
I guess I got to kind of go with John on this one. There is nothing like having true, genuine relationships with people. We need people. I saw a quote that says how we've become more connected technically through technology, but it seems like we become way more disconnected humanly. We need to build honest, true relationships with people. And one of the most important relationships you will need is a relationship with God. And I'm not talking about going to church on Sunday, going to a Bible study on Wednesday. I'm talking about getting to know him like you would somebody close to you. Most of the things that we suffer, it comes from really us not doing what we should do. And God is trying to help us. He's trying to save us from the stress. He's trying to save us from the worry. He's trying to save us from the fear, the doubt, and all this other kind of stuff. But he says, I just need you to do these things this way. And if we would just listen, we would save ourselves a lot of stress, a lot of heartache, a lot of trouble. But if we've gotten ourselves into that, he can help you with that as well. So out of all the relationships you need to form, whether it's friends, family, anything, get a relationship with God, somebody who can really help you with what you're going through. And that's our King Speak for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, I have enjoyed this. This has been a great conversation.
It was good, man.
I want to thank the doctors for joining us tonight. Dr. Shelia, we wish you much success with your business, your psychotherapy business. Dr. Shelia, but she's not local. She's all the way in Mississippi.
Oh,
all the way out in Mississippi. So if you're in Mississippi and you need a therapist, definitely holler at Dr. Shelia. That's family. She's good people. And we got our own trauma queen, Dr. Salena. She has a podcast now, teaching through the eyes of trauma, dealing with educators, but not just educators. She's talking about trauma, how it affects people, how it affects kids, how to teach the kids that have trauma, what parents need to be aware of with kids that are dealing with trauma and the whole nine. So you can find her podcast on Apple and Google and Spotify and all those places too. That's Teaching Through the Eyes of Trauma. You want to check that out as well. Great information she's sharing. My man, Big Yogi, what you got going on, man?
Chilling, man.
None.
Actually, I have a Valentine's Day show this weekend over in, I want to say in what's the name of that street? In Dallas. It's in Dallas.
It's in Dallas.
That's not helpful. That's not helpful.
That's as much information as they've given me. Okay.
So you know who does the booking, right? You know his wife looking for him.
Oh,
he just asking where he need to be.
It's certainly not me.
And John has a comedy thing coming up on the 11th as well.
Yes. The comedy thing, myself versus Ivan Dawkins he's on our sister. He's on our sister show. King 3 and me. King, what is it? King 3. What is it? King
3 and King. You know he's somewhere cussing right now. You know he's somewhere cussing right now.
Yeah. We're supposed to do that on Friday. Friday at 7 o'clock. It'll be a good time. Y'all
yes,
come
check them out. It will be a comedy
versus.
Yes, a comedy verse. I was like,
mm-hmm.
comedy fight, it wasn't coming out.
Right. Showdown. And you can catch us Sunday mornings on Overcomers Empowerment Ministries. We're on Roku, so you can catch us live on Roku, but you can also watch us on Facebook and YouTube, and you can go back and you can catch our messages anytime you need to, whether you go on Roku or you can go on Facebook and YouTube and catch our past messages for Overcomers Empowerment Ministries as well. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Everybody that shows up every week, we appreciate all y'all. We appreciate our new listeners and watchers. Thanks for the love. We're going to catch y'all next Monday. Peace out.